Long ago in Norway lived a young couple who were very much in love. The girl was beautiful with hair like spun gold, and the boy was strong and brave. They had just celebrated their first anniversary and were returning home from a festival when they realized that they had taken a wrong turn somewhere in the woods. Now it was too dark to see and they couldn't find their way out of the forest, so they decided to make camp for the night and start again in the morning. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, the girl became frightened because she could hear strange sounds all around her. She clung to her lover as if in fear of being torn apart from him. Suddenly, the trees began to rustle violently and the couple looked up in terror as hundreds of branches swooped down toward them, crashing to the ground all around. Then they heard voices whispering in many different directions at once. They were unpleasant voices, evil and sinister, and they all seemed to be telling the couple to run away from each other. "Run away from each other," the tree said. And as the lovers embraced tightly, they thought perhaps this was a test from God to see if their love was true. But then the branches started closing in again. The whispers grew louder. And so the couple ran into the darkness, stumbling over roots and stones as they fled the whispering forest. They ran until they came to a clearing where there was a lake. And here the whispering stopped. They could hear nothing but the sound of the wind rustling through the leaves. Panting and exhausted, the couple collapsed on the grass and cried out, begging for mercy. And though it seemed like an eternity, after a while, they heard footsteps approaching and turned to see a small man with a red beard standing in front of them. He was dressed in green robes and carried a staff topped with a glowing crystal. When he came closer, they could see that his face was very old and wrinkled. He asked them why they had come to the lake and what they were doing there. And when they told him about the whispering trees, he nodded understandingly. "You have stumbled into the most dangerous place in the world," he said gravely. "It is forbidden for humans to enter the whispering forest, because here the trees are alive and they can crush anyone who enters their domain. You are only here because I brought you here. I am the guardian of the lake, and I brought you here so that you would know that no matter how great your love might be, you must not defy the ancient laws." The old man looked sadly at the couple. "Now the whispering trees will never let you go. One of you must leave the forest or both of you will die." The girl immediately started to cry, but the man was filled with anger. "Why should my love die? It wasn't her fault we got lost, but it was your fault too," the man said harshly. "You should not have listened to me when I said we were taking a shortcut. I did not want to listen to you anyway." The man snapped back. "You always tell me what to do, but I won't do anything you say." The old man was deeply disappointed. "So be it," he said finally. "Then I must bring you each back to the entrance of the forest, but you may never see each other again." With that, he reached out and touched the girl with his staff. She screamed and disappeared in a flash of light. Then he turned to the man, who also vanished before the old man could take him anywhere. When the man awoke, he found himself back in the forest. Disoriented, he called out for his love, but only silence answered him. As he ran frantically through the trees, trying to find her, the whispers started again. And it seemed to him as if the forest itself were laughing at him, mocking his lost love. In his desperation, he ran faster, deeper into the forest, not knowing where he was going, not caring if he ever got out. The whispering followed him for days. Sometimes it was kind and encouraging, saying things like, "Go on, you can do it, don't stop now." At other times it was cruel and mocking, taunting him to keep going so that he would become more and more tired. And the longer he walked, the hungrier and thirstier he became. One day he came across a stream and stooped down to drink, and as he did, something shiny caught his eye. Looking closer, he saw that it was a golden ring with a beautiful emerald in the center. As soon as he picked it up, the whispers filled his mind. "Give me the ring," they hissed, "and we will help you find her." He didn't know what else to do, so he gave them the ring. And as soon as he did, the trees parted before him and he saw his love standing in front of him. Overjoyed, he ran toward her, but as he reached out to embrace her, she stepped back. "Don't touch me," she cried, "or I'll vanish like smoke." He knew that she was right, but he couldn't help himself. And as he closed his arms around her, she did indeed disappear, leaving him holding only empty air. The man was devastated. He threw himself on the ground in despair and begged the trees to forgive him, but the whispering only laughed cruelly. Meanwhile, the girl had been wandering through the forest for days without food or water, and she was very thirsty. Just when she thought she couldn't take another step, she came across a tiny cottage made of twigs and leaves. There was smoke rising from its chimney, and she could hear the sound of a woman singing inside. Feeling that this might be her last chance for survival, the girl knocked on the door, and a moment later it was opened by a woman unlike any she had ever seen before. Her hair was long and silver, and she wore a dress woven from leaves and flowers. But her eyes were sharp and intelligent, and the girl knew that she was looking at a powerful sorceress. "Come inside, child," the witch said kindly. "I knew you would come sooner or later. Come with me and I will teach you the ways of the forest." And so the girl stayed with the witch and learned the secrets of herbs and healing. She learned which plants could help people and which could hurt them. She learned how to read the signs in nature and how to live in harmony with the animals. She learned how to make herself invisible by using special plants and how to cast spells using the power of her own voice. And the more she learned, the more she realized that the forest was truly magical and that it was full of wonder and beauty. But even though she loved her new life, she often thought of her former lover. She wondered if he was still looking for her, and if he had learned from his mistakes. And one day, when she was walking in the forest, she came across a clearing where there was a lake, and in the middle of the lake, she saw a man standing. It was her former lover. He was older now, and there were lines of sadness on his face. But when he saw her, his face lit up with joy. "You're alive," he whispered. "I thought I'd never see you again." "I'm sorry," she said, "that I left you. I was scared and didn't know what else to do." "I'm sorry, too," he said, "for not listening to you, and for blaming you when we got lost. We both made mistakes," she said, "but we can't change the past. All we can do is try to do better in the future." The man took her hand and felt a surge of happiness. "Will you come back with me to the village?" he asked, "and live with me forever?" "I want to," she said, "but I can't. I belong to the forest now." The man was confused. "What do you mean? Why can't you come with me?" "Because I am the whispering forest," she said softly. "I am the trees and the animals. I am the wind in the leaves and the water in the stream. I am a part of this world, and I can't leave it." And though the man did not understand her words, he could see the truth in her eyes, and so he knew that she belonged to the forest, and he would never force her to leave. Instead, he embraced her and promised to visit her as often as he could. And as the years passed, he did indeed keep his promise, and every time he came to see her, she taught him more about the magic of the forest until he, too, became a part of it.